All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as usual. Of course, I need to shave. Getting stubbly everywhere, my neck, my head. Should probably sort that out here in a bit. I sort it before I train. All right, let's see if we get anyone in here. This is even earlier than usual. I was in bed at a decent hour. Felt like waking up early. Felt like my recovery is doing well. I'm just not feeling the need to sleep in. I let my body tell me how long to sleep usually. When I'm just up, I feel good. It's going to be a speed bench day. So we'll see. Let me make sure I set this to public. Yeah, we're set to public. All right. Just like all my other stuff, you never really know when these are going to happen. Right? You never know when they're going to happen. So, yeah. But hopefully we'll get people in quickly, even though it's earlier than usual. And yeah, I might run a decent time if we get enough people in, because I'm in really early. Or I might not. I might want to just go bench, right? I want to just go speed bench. So I'm going to do speed bench with chains today, probably do some dips after. Some triceps. Good morning. How you doing, Peppermint? UK here, so this is prime time for me. Good morning. Awesome. Good to hear it, man. All right, we're getting a few people in already, too. You'll see you dropped a like. Always appreciated. What do you have going on, Peppermint? What's the dealio? Let's get some conversations. I don't have much else to talk about other than that it's speed bench day. Got to do a client intake this afternoon. I'm working right now, but to get on this on while I work. Okay, cool. Awesome, man. Peppermint, what do you do? Arm day later. Yeah, I had my bicep day yesterday. I just realized it's cold. I turned the heat on. I have no veins this morning because it's a little cool in here compared to usual. I'm down a pound a day. I'm at 219. I'm feeling with the fasted cardio and the carbs lower, scale will start going down even though calories are crazy high. All right. Keep that food intake high. Work as an editor in a science journal. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. Stuff's going along okay. Could always be faster. Business could be faster, but it's getting there. Slow upward trend in picking up clients. It's still honestly like 5 or 6 more. I just can't handle 5 new ones in a week. That's why I say 3 slots open. The OnlyFans slowly growing. I got to get more content there. It's been an issue with my photographer with some of the stuff, getting stuff she wanted edited. The other stuff, I just do the pay-per-view stuff myself, obviously. Impressed by your working knowledge of these topics. More chemistry than biology, but I'm trained as a biochemist. Nice. Well, I tend to look at them from the perspective of applied sciences. What can I take from these areas and then apply it to what we are doing practically and put it in terms that people will understand. Lyle McDonald does a good job of that personally. He distills stuff down, but he still struggles sometimes to talk to people. But I try to take all of this stuff and put all the science of fitness and to distill it down in a way that people can understand, that they can make practical to their real life. The only problem is sometimes we get too hypothetical and then it's not practical. Like when I've discussed stuff with, fat storage and lack of de novo lipogenesis in humans, and I'll point out that, yes, you can bulk harder with higher calories on really low fat. And which sounds good, but it's not practical. Because when I explain to people what I mean by that, that's an example of something I've discussed that isn't practical because people don't understand the ultra low fat. They're like 50 grams. I'm like, no, you'll get fat as hell. You'll gain a ton of fat if you were to carb overfeed on 50 grams of fat a day. But isn't that low fat? I'm like, that's fairly low fat, yeah. But we're talking like 10 grams, to the point where you'd be scared of a fat deficiency. So things like that. So that advice I give, I did mean it, but it's not always practical because people aren't understanding how low a fat we're talking about. Like the amount of fat that you want to gain every week, that's what you need to eat if you're going to do that route. People are better off just ultra slow bulking and, if anything, protein overfeeding. No, I thought about becoming a teacher at one time, and my dad deterred me from that. He's like, they don't make money. So, same thing for me, though. I personally wouldn't be comfortable with the lifestyle on a teacher's income. Just wouldn't. So, while it might be enjoyable, it's just not like the money. And then in schools today, the way they are. Yeah. I like to explain things, but do more one-to-one basis. But here's the thing, Peppermint. This topic comes up if you consider being a teacher. Isn't that what I do? Do I not make a living technically as a teacher? This is my classroom. My videos are my classroom. So really, I do that. But I make more money than a teacher with all of it. What type of coffee do you drink? This is today. This is it's an HEB Texas pecan. One little blue bags you see sometimes. I like my little Austin blend sometimes too, though. True, I meant more of a school context with a curriculum, right? Do we really need a curriculum? Let's just get in and teach. We're going to get a lot more teaching, though, now that I'm doing Conjugate get in. A lot of people have gotten excited. They're like, yeah, you're Conjugate. Whenever you're really messing with Conjugate, the strength training info gets really ridiculously good. Because we can have those real conversations about separating our different performance elements and joint angle specificity, neural drive as it pertains to joint angles. I mean, that's how you get really, really, really strong. In an example, that's one of the reasons we max a lot on Conjugate, so that you can find your weak points, right? So what people don't understand for my Conjugate clients, and then whenever I run Conjugate, I look at those maxes. Right? I look at those maxes and I determine where my weak link is in those movements, so then I know where I need to work. So, for example, this week, I took that close grip bench to a max. I took that deficit deadlift to a max. I kept ramping until we got to a max, right? So then what do? We look at where the bar slopes. That tells us everything. Look at where the bar slopes. That's where you need to get stronger. Most people would replace speed work with a 5x5. I don't know about that. Intermediate. Depends on the person. I've had a lot of luck with the speed work. I've done both. I've coached both, really. I get a lot out of the speed work. I'd like to pretend that I don't, but I sure seem to when it comes to hit maxes. Mainly because it's a difference of learning to coach yourself correctly in that regard of, I know I get a ton out of the speed work objectively when I look at what my maxes look like week to week. but I like to pretend that I don't because it just feels so ridiculous to do it. But my maxes go up. Most of us care about bodybuilding. Yeah, but powerlifting will make you big. The speed work has a hypertrophic component. I've observed this in my lifters, but then you come through and do arm work. So, I mean, perfect example of intermediate. I'm literally running Conjugate now, but I have smack dab in the middle of the week. I have an arm day. I have a straight up bodybuilder bicep day right there now. 20 sets of biceps. Isn't that really, realistically, for most people, couldn't you just train Conjugate and make sure you get plenty of bicep work in and probably look like a bodybuilder? And what I thought was interesting, what day? It was yesterday, Wednesday. So I did 20 sets of curls yesterday. I did 3 sets of pull-ups because I do some back every day now. And then I did 20 sets of curls, in about the 10 to 16, 17 rep range. I did 5 different types of curls. Most of them were with dumbbells. So I did incline curls, dumbbell preacher curls, alternating dumbbell curls, and I did easy bar, then I did bands. Now I'm doing upper DE here in a couple hours today. I'm not worried about the bicep interference. Bicep fatigue is not going to affect my speed bench. Now, had I done 20 sets of triceps, it would be different. We're going to do a ton of triceps today, though. That's definitely happening. Well, we're going to do closed grip speed bench against chains. So that's going to be pretty tricep dominant, but I'm probably going to hammer those bands into the ground at the end. I'm probably going to do them till my arms won't move. Good morning, Jason. Usually trained at around 10. Depends on the weather and when I wake up. Steve, I base it entirely upon when I'm awake enough. And because I've been sleeping a lot more and going to bed later, I had been waking up earlier, but I'm up a little earlier today. It's going to start getting hotter soon. It's cold today, but it's about to get real hot. I'm in, just north of Houston. When I say just north of Houston, I'm talking like a 3-minute drive from the city of living. Yeah. So I'm going to probably train earlier today. I want to get in and just get that speed bench done. But yeah, once it starts getting later, being in my gym at 11 a.m. still, when it starts hitting 100 degrees Fahrenheit is not going to be fun. For those who don't use Freedom units, working out in a hot garage in 40 degrees Celsius, not that fun. I do a mini workout on Saturday and on Monday, max upper I miss a PR. Okay. Yeah. Well, so for me, intermediate, I'm going to take the weekends off completely from lifting, just cardio. That GPP is fine. So if I don't do any lifting, I should be fully recovered, right? I should be fully recovered from all the speed work and volume on Thursday and Friday by the time Monday rolls around. So those mini workouts, if you fatigue the muscles involved in your max effort lift, it could be a problem. Yeah, because you only have 48 hours. That's a problem. You need 72 hours. That's what Louis Simmons at least said. Right. And whether we could argue about the accuracy or not, I mean, he tested this stuff in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of elite lifters, all these things. Really, you talk about an interesting set of case studies, just the data that man would have gathered. That's why I sucked up every last bit of information he had as he started getting older, because I know some of it may start disappearing. I found so many of his seminars and lectures, and I probably watched 100 hours of his lectures. I look at Westside, the guys did a mini workout sometimes you got to watch what they do. It needs to be low. Yeah, dude, when they say mini workouts, do you remember what Louis Simmons meant by mini workouts? It was stuff like a 500-pound bencher, 500 raw bencher, doing 25-pound dumbbells for chest presses, doing 100 rep sets of band press downs. That's what they meant by mini workouts, doing 100 rep sets of reverse hypers. So they were not using anywhere near 50% of a 1 rep max on those mini workouts. Ben Johnson's made a video, adding weight to the bar is not how you get stronger. Have you watched? That sounds like a clickbait title, if we're going to be perfectly honest. That sounds a little clickbaity. Not going to lie. Let's get those likes up, though, guys. Come on. We need to make sure that we get more people. There's only 10 people. Granted, I am very early in the day with this compared to normal. Peppermint. So what exactly did he say then was the key to getting stronger? Gosh, I got flakes on my shirt. That's also why I shaved the beard really short. So I haven't scrubbed everything this morning. And so when I say I have serious psoriasis, you guys notice that there were flakes on my shirt. That's because I haven't scrubbed my beard yet this morning and shaved. I shed like a snake, and my whole scalp does that if I don't shave it. So if I were to let my hair grow out to this long on the bit of the half that I still have hair on, or the 2/3, I pretty much 3 times a week or twice a week, I'll have to just peel my entire scalp off, and it'll be strips of skin like this. I have really serious psoriasis. It's been that way most of my life. I'm going to watch it after your live update next time you're live. About the splitting front squat harness for $130 is worth every possible penny. The best investment. Interesting. I might start messing with my SSB more personally. Yeah, I should have got up and scrubbed everything this morning better, but I'm not awake yet. I get psoriasis in my upper lip sometimes, my eyelids, which is really annoying. Yeah. Yep. So that's why I'm just like, I roll my eyes when people are like, you should get a hair transplant. I'm like, I'd have to shave it. I'd have to shave all of it off. Jason training after it hits 80, 85 in the garage does not sound fun. Better to get it in early. Yeah. Yep. You guys have seen me training in 100 degrees though on camera before. Which belt squat machine do you have? I have the Bells of Steel. I don't know what it costs now, but it was only $800 when I bought it. It was an absolute steal at $800. You know, absolute steal. Now that I've figured out really how to use it effectively to get the most out of it. And quite frankly, those are the only lower body accessories I've really needed to get stronger in the past. Is just have to be fair. The belt squat, glute ham raise, reverse hyper, and then lots of good morning variations. So that's where my only variation is probably going to come in. I mean, I like glute bridges and things like that, but really, I don't know that they're the best use of my time. Those others are all so much easier on recovery. That's the main thing. That's the problem with some of those lifts. If you want to push your volumes way up, you really have to think about how much loading is being put on your body. You have to think about the fact of, do I really need a 600-pound accessory? You know, we're going to have the max effort work every week. We're going to have heavy good mornings. You know, we don't need all this other stuff. Yeah, I find the good mornings have always given me the carryover. And I've seen that with some of my clients. You know, I get people who would used to tell me stuff like, Jason, you can't just good morning your way to a big squat. And I'm like, but I can. And I've watched it with clients. Like, you remember when I put up Charles? You guys remember Charles? He weighed 175 pounds, and I took him over 2.5 years or so. We went from a 440 squat to a 505, right? And we only did 5 back squats a year. I got his good morning up to 500, and he could always just straight up squat whenever he could good morning, a little more. For someone who cares more about bodybuilding, what do you think of doing 5 reps for max effort? No. No. Do you want to get hurt? I think your injury rate's going to be lower. If you're going to do true max effort work, do singles. Even Dave Tate and I, we agree on that. Coach, can you deadlift your way? No. There's enough differences. But what I mean, Peppermint, now obviously bigger quads matter, so some quad hypertrophy matters, but realistically, speed boxes and getting crazy strong at good mornings will build a monstrous squat. Not going to build a monstrous high bar squat, but as long as you do some quad accessories, you're still good here. Speed boxes with a wide stance and get crazy strong at good mornings, and I guarantee you will have an elite squat. Coach, can you deadlift your? No. Oh, Peppermint, in that case, though, lots of quad accessories, honestly. All right, so build your upper back and build your quads. Good mornings help, yeah. But if you just want a massive high bar squat, hammer the hell out of your quads with accessory work. Train your upper back. I just got an SSB and my good morning sucks with it. I'm going to push it up and see where it takes my squat. Dude, the heaviest good morning I ever hit with an SSB was only around 420. I mean, it is a difficult bar to work with. Do you think leg extensions are a mass builder? Yes. Objectively speaking, a leg extension is a quad mass builder. I want to do good mornings. Jason, you know if Coach Clint Darden uses a taller box, him being a fairly. I've seen Clint use some below parallel boxes, by the way. Don't let him fool you when he does that higher box stuff. I have seen Clint do some low box stuff in the past where his knees go all the way behind his heels, all the way onto a box, like 3 inches below parallel. But generally, Clint usually he just likes higher boxes. He feels they give great carryover just fine. Especially, though, because he tends to squat in a suit historically. Right? It's like he can just get more load on the bar. She would have made it. What are you talking about? But no, I mean, intermediate, back to that other point, no. I mean, if people are more bodybuilding, if you want to get strong, you still need to do the singles. The bodybuilding comes from all the other hypertrophy work you do off the back. So obviously get in and do a bunch of curls and so on and so forth. Make sure that your quads get big with some isolation and things. But as far as even the bodybuilding goes, it was interesting. And this was a conversation because I was running Conjugate back then again. So people forget that. I was running Conjugate for even in 2013 for quite a bit. And conversation I had with Chris Lovato, which again gets brought up every now and then because I met him and Ogus at Body Power. We were chatting about it, and he kind of had mentioned, because he knew I was doing the Conjugate stuff and watching my stuff. He actually said he had muscle groups that grew on Conjugate faster than they had on any other program. He said his back. He said, for example, his back, while he was running Conjugate, he felt even the speed pulls and stuff made his back and traps and everything grow. But he noted that the entire, if trying to remember how he worded, he said the entire posterior side of his body grew faster on Conjugate than it did on bodybuilding programs. It's just his observation. Like when he started treating all of that like a bodybuilder when he ran the Conjugate, he's like, my traps, my lats, my glutes, my hamstrings, he's like, all of that grew faster than when I trained pure bodybuilding. You know, now biceps and pecs and stuff didn't. But then we would come over and say, well, why can't you just bodybuild the biceps? Right. Still going to be a low turnout. I think it's because it's so early. People aren't ready for this. Is it really 47 outside? What's going on? Man, might be cold. Is the OnlyFans channel making more? No, it's not making more than YouTube already. I mean, it's making something. I think it will eventually surpass it. Unless my YouTube blows back up from the Conjugate stuff and me improving physique and getting stronger and everything. You know, the main thing is just working all of them. So the whole point, you work all of your different social media and whatever hits. Because I've had different years where different stuff made more money. Right? Like right now, all my social media is paying less. So I'm pretty much, I live on my coaching right now because all my social media is down. Like all my combined social media together makes way less than any of my social media did on their best years, if that makes sense. So, I mean, at this point, I technically have 5 monetized platforms, but they all pay pennies. In good years, I've had different platforms clear over 50 grand. And I mean more than one. My Facebook cleared over 50 grand 1 year before. I think my best Facebook year was around maybe 52,000. My best YouTube year was 57,000. I might have to go check the exact years intermediate. My YouTube made over 50 grand like 4 years in a row, by the way. So between like 50 to 57,000 for about 4 or 5 years was my average YouTube income. I really like programming. So the thing is, you just work all of the social media and wait till something hits again. And it will with certain stuff. I'm just going to have to continue to do things a little different. You know, and maybe if I get lucky, they'll all kind of blow up. No, they don't. They don't penalize consistency at all, Alan. It's not what they do. It's you have to have stuff that's hitting for their algorithm. They like consistency. I like programming. I've been over rows the way Ed Cohen does 853s, linear periodization, concurrent with a conjugate program for a big 3. Boards blow up my entire back. Okay. I mean, any type of row is good. So people always ask me that, and they're like, what's the best type of row? I'm like, all rows are good. We need to be clear on that. Like, all rows are good. Rows in general, just get strong at rows. Pick the ones that work for what you're doing best right now in terms of fatigue or what feels good. Like that's actually the answer. No, Alan, what do you mean? The algo doesn't monetize, it's your traffic. The monetization is consistent. So on all of my platforms, I can literally predict the income short of donations. So stars on Facebook, super chats on YouTube. When you take those out of the equation, the money is always very consistent. I can literally look at traffic and predict how much money I'm going to make, like within a 10% margin of error. There's no variation. The algo doesn't change what monetizes. It's purely traffic based. In my experience, as someone who has everything monetized, like you can see the patterns. It's very predictable. But what you don't have control is what is going to be seen, right? Because of what they show in people's feeds. So it's your reach is what's inconsistent. Right. You have to get into people's feeds. That's what's going on. Also, guys, give Daddy a like. There's more people commenting than there are likes up here. That kills me getting into people's feeds. So there's a perfect example, Alan. These live streams, if people don't click like, they don't go into people's feeds. So that's why we have nobody in here, because there's like 7 people commenting and only 3 likes. That pretty much guarantees this will not hit people's feeds. So that's why I'm always like, click the like button, guys. Give Daddy a like. So I mean, a perfect example, because I know that from my research, the number of likes you get in a live stream will affect if people see it come up in their notifications. Yeah, Alan, it's because people are not clicking the likes. So the ones where they click a bunch of likes, like if I get 20 likes in the first 10 minutes, it will go into everybody's feeds. But with 4 likes, notice we're 30 minutes deep and nobody's watching. It's literally because the people commenting didn't click like. That totally fucks you. Would you say meta Facebook algorithm, some people have a huge comment section? No, comments actually help. Comments help you the most. Actually, shares are massive. But I can't, here's the problem, Steve. So, Steve, you follow my Facebook, right? If you would comment on more of my stuff, it would be great. If I ask you to do so, so if they catch in your Facebook, their algorithm is programmed to catch you trying to ask people for engagements. It will shadow ban you for that. I can ask you on another platform. But if they catch me saying, hey guys, like this, or they catch you doing engagement bait, it is a violation. They will eventually pull your monetization for that, actually. It's a violation of your monetization contract to do it on Facebook itself. But that will actually take you out of the algorithm. But yeah, so I mean, if you follow my Facebook, if you'll like and comment every day on something, it actually helps me massively. Comments are worth a lot. Shares are the big deal. Shares are the massive, but people don't always want to share stuff to their walls. Understandable, you know. But yeah, I'm in several creator groups, and I'm real life friends with one of the mods in the biggest creator group for Facebook. So we all exchange data on that, but it's been ridiculously slow lately there. Good morning, Coach. You're early today. Absolutely. Hey, Janoy, could you give me a like, please? Again, even right here, how many people? 1, 2, and we already know Peppermint. Click like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people in here, 7 people commenting, and only 4 likes. See, that absolutely kills your outreach. Like I might as well not even continue this stream because it ran too long with no likes. It will not be seen by anybody. So that's a reminder. If you guys, as soon as you get into any of my live streams, if you just click the like immediately, that's huge. Like do it before you even ask the first question. It's massive. Appreciate it, guys. I'm quitting alcohol in part because of your videos. Thank you, Joe. That's awesome, dude. I was chatting with a friend of mine. Call her a friend. Kind of the same thing. Who's a non-drinker. And yeah, that's something I had said that if I can get just me telling my story with that and just encouraging people not to drink on my outreach, if I could just get 2 or 3 people to stop drinking, it's totally worth it. You know? But Joe, you're like the 5th follower I've had who said something like that. You know, Joe, you're like the 5th follower who in a stream or somewhere has said that I inspired them or helped them realize to quit drinking. So like, dude, that's worth it. That's awesome. So that's good, man. I'm proud of you. Yeah, you know you're an alcoholic if you drink by yourself, and that's what I've been doing. Yeah, Joe, it's time, homie. It's time to toss that bottle away. You know, your life's going to be better for it, though, in every way. Like, it's not just the health, you know, and that's what people don't always realize. Yes, it will affect your fitness goals. Yes, you'll lose fat easier. Yes, you'll recover from training easier. But it's the other stuff, you know. It's the mindset difference. Like when you quit drinking, you start realizing that it was fueling your depression, that it's fueling all these other things, you know. Like everything gets better. Think of clicking like is going to someone's house. The first thing you do is knock on the door and take shoes off for any basic human decency, right? No, Janoi, I've never tried psychedelics. I was a horrible example for my little brother in terms of my drinking. When I quit, he quit about a year later. Definitely one of my prouder moments as a big brother. Yeah, man. Yep. And I think so. That's just as a big brother. And here's the big one when people drink. What if you have kids? What if you have kids? Let's set aside brothers and sisters who look up to you. I mean, that's important. Don't get me wrong. That matters. Man, what about your kids? Dudes out here drinking every night, and their kids, their 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old kid thinks that it's perfectly normal. Dad drinks, has a beer or a shot of whiskey every single night. That's what dad does, and I look up to dad. You know, they look up to dad, and dad has a drink every night. Man, when kids are 3, 4 years old, that imprints on their brain. They're going to carry that the rest of their life. That's in their brain normal. My dad's an alcoholic. All right. When girls can replace, how do you play the guitar? What do you mean I am showing off? Janoi. This is why you guys don't get pussy. Seeming like, dude, you just show off. Acting like you're not trying to show off says I'm not confident. No, man, just show off. Bro, Jesus. Be confident. You need to be like a big old peacock. That big plume needs to be out there for her to see. The peacock with the biggest plume walking around that gets the attention gets the most pussy. This is not difficult. This is why I feel so self-conscious. That's your problem. Get rid of that. That needs to go away. All right. T-Carp, the birth of my son is what made me decide to quit in the first place. Yeah. You can be confident. Hey, Alan, you don't necessarily have to be cocky, but you can show off. I've had multiple people over, and there's been girls over before, and I'm just like, hey, y'all want to hear some guitar? Everybody's like, yeah. And I bust out the guitar and start playing. But I'm going to put on a concert for y'all. I've been at social events where we didn't even have real instruments, and we just did a jam out session with 20 people hanging out. Like one of my bros before, like we had kind of a Christmas party with a bunch of extended friends and stuff. And this was last year. Sorry, it was the year before, not even this one. And so what do? He didn't want to break out his bass because there was no other instruments there, but we had a bunch of little candy drums, and he had his daughter's little Disney acoustic guitar, and I busted that thing out. and we jammed out Highway to Hell for everybody. I've never picked up a girl at a rock concert. I've never gone to a rock concert without taking a girl with me already. So it's kind of like, how are you going to be picking up girls when you got a girl with you? It doesn't work. Like, why are you going to a concert without taking a girl? Janoi. Okay. You need help. You need a lot of help. You're going to a concert, a music concert, without asking a girl to go with you? Let me ask you the question again. Are you going out of your way to just not get laid? Like, is your goal in life to just never get any pussy? You're going to a concert, you find a girl, you go find a girl, and go like, hey, man, I'm going to the whatever the band happens to be, ZZ Top. But you want to go with me? And if she likes the band, she's probably going to say, hell yeah. Do you know how many music concerts have you been to? Kind of a harder place to meet people unless they're there with a group of people you already know. Right? They're not there to get to know you. They're busy listening to the music. You're not gonna pick up girls that easily. The band's gonna pick up girls. The roadies are gonna pick up girls. You're not performing. Do you really think that's a good environment to try to get to know someone with all the music blasting, who's moving around doing her stuff? No. Yeah. So take a girl next time. Yeah, you stood there by yourself. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to get a conversation, get to know somebody there. It's a very, very poor environment for that. It is, however, a great environment for you to take a girl to. Yeah, screaming at someone between songs is a tough environment. So next time you see a concert you want to go to and you're going to get tickets, you ask a girl, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to go to this concert. Do you want to go with me? You want to go? Right? Now she's going to think you're cool. Plus, she can go listen to some music, have a good time, hanging out with you that you took her to. This is a good thing. She can go do something fun and exciting while hanging with you that you invited her to. You took her along. You even bought a ticket. All right. Okay, Janoi. Do you buy her ticket? I don't want to spend money on it. Yeah, see, the other guys, any guys who has had any luck with women or married or has a girlfriend is looking at my face. Janoi, let me explain how this works. Women are not vending machines to where when you stick enough nice guy coins in, pussy automatically pops out. That's not how it works. When you go into things desperate to get laid, or that is your primary goal, consciously, your odds of getting pussy go down. Okay, you just reduced your chances of getting laid 50 to 80%. Do you know why you take her to the concert? Because it will be fun. Why do you take a girl out to a date? To get to know her and it'll be fun. That's why. Be fun. Don't be desperate. Damn, man, you need to pay me for a consultation on this stuff. $100 an hour. Let's see. Depends on the girl, Depends on the girl and my intentions. All right. Coach, the girl I'm dating said my mouth smells good. It's a sign that you're probably just really compatible, Joe. High degree of compatibility. Janoi, if she wants to. If you're dating girls, you're not dating to get laid. Okay. You don't have to date to have sex. Like you don't have to spend money to have sex if that's your only goal, right? You're usually dating because you're interested and more want to get to know them at least. So then you kind of leave that if she'll let you know if she wants to on the first date. Some will, some won't. That kind of comes back to the point of dating. You're over here, I'm not going to date unless I'm 100% wrong with it. Well, then why are you dating? If your goal is to get laid, just go have sex then. There's lots of girls who will have sex with you without you taking them on a date or spending a single penny on them. You're like, well, that's not the sort of girl I want a relationship with. But that's why you don't date them. You just have sex with them. Right? If you're going to take a girl on dates, you're probably at least interested in a potential relationship out of it. You're trying to get to know her better. Otherwise, you would just have sex. You just go find the hoes and just bang them. There's like a billion of them. Jason, when I buy things for a girl I'm dating, I do it because I like doing it, not because I think I'm going to get sex out of it. Is this correct? Yeah, exactly. It's pretty straightforward, guys. It is very straightforward. Exactly, Dojo. All right. Coach, how do you broach the topic of not wanting to date? I'm good at dating, but not getting hookups. And just tell her straight up. So you just let them know. I mean, you just have those conversations up front, guys. I feel like girls don't want to have sex with a guy right away without at least experience a date. Okay, Genoa. And that's perfectly fine because they're dating. Let me explain how this works. Women date men who they see some possible potential relationship with. Okay. Do you understand? Whereas there are girls who are more than happy to just have sex. They're different women. They're not the same woman. All right, Lama Donald said he knew someone in college who just went door to door in dorms asking girls if they wanted to have sex, had a 25% success rate. They're definitely out there. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'd go so far as to say about 20 to 25% of girls more than happy to just have sex with any guy they think's attractive, especially if they're in their 20s. So if that's all you're looking for, then you don't need to date. You just go find those girls. You date because you are looking for a potential relationship. I don't recommend you date the girls who will bang you without having sex, without dating or anything. No, it's probably not a good idea. They're probably not ready to be good relationship material. Jason raising hands and forearms might be some of the most attractive muscle groups to women, and it's because of you wearing a t-shirt. Girls are more attracted to guys who they just want to have sex with, whereas in the guys she feels is safe, they date with less sex. No, it's totally the girl. It's not the guy. It's nothing to do with the guy. Making women feel safe is actually a major turn on. Again, you've been reading too much red pill crap. You know, I stop reading the red pill stuff. These guys are incel virgin losers. Even the pickup artists aren't getting laid that much, I promise you. Just stop reading this stuff. Just stop. It's rotting your brain. It's rotting your brain. Women are hardwired to be attracted to men who make them feel safe. Every woman knows this. All my chick friends, we laugh and talk about this. I got a chick friend I've dated casually off and on for years. We have fun. Like, we're super cool, right? We'll never get together. She even said that. She's like, yeah, she's got a biology background. She's like, all women are like that. We are turned on by a man who makes us feel safe. Safe being a broad statement, right? And this same girl actually makes fun of the red pill, by the way. That's the same woman. She actually makes fun of the red pill guy. She goes, that's the fastest way to be a virgin loser. She's like, that's the best way to never get any pussy. That's her words. Taking that mentality, she goes, those guys are ridiculously disgusting losers. She's like, it's their whole mindset. Okay. And as long as you're stuck into that red pill mindset, you're going to stay one. Do you think you could be, because evolutionary speaking, humans' hands and forms are basically a primary weapon? Maybe, or it's because they can see them. The pickup artists, that's all staged. Those guys, no, it's all for money. They're making money off of their naive followers. Or if they can hit enough different ones to get, like, I saw one come through my feed this morning, and this one guy got the girl to give him the number. He played this little game on her, and even as they were walking away, he's like, hey, I love you. She's like, I love you too. You know, he just got her to do it right. But you also have to go, how many women did he try this with before he got one that worked and got it on camera? 20, 30, because it's only a minute long or a minute and a half long clip. It might have taken him 20 tries, 30 tries to get that. Because he just kind of worked her in the conversation. Again, it's that may not be staged, but it's definitely a bias in the statistics. He probably had 20 women that none of that worked with. Yeah, it came through my feed. I was laying in bed this morning, and it just randomly came through my feed. And I don't watch any of this stuff. It was just in the middle of the fitness stuff. Yeah. You know, but yeah, it's the whole pickup artist thing doesn't work, dude. It doesn't work. But I will say to guys, definitely being in shape helps. That's kind of a trifecta. I've discussed it. If you guys saw a bunch of my friends who write about this stuff, who are women, we engage this stuff on Facebook all the time, in big old group chats in public. So you guys can see these conversations. And it's something I said in there, and even like my friend Brianna was like, yep, nail on the head. I'm like, guys, if you want to literally attract women, here's your trifecta. Number one, get in shape. All right? Number one, get in shape. Number two, and guys want to argue, and I'm like, shut up and stop arguing. Argue with me if you don't want pussy. Because you can't change your height. You can't change your face. So just stop. Just stop with that stupid shit. That's a loser mindset. As soon as you take that mindset, you have made a conscious choice that you are not going to get laid. You've decided to never get laid. Stop. All right. Your trifecta, because it's things that you can change. Number one, get in shape. You will always be more attractive if you are fit. Your face will look better. Your body looks better. Get in shape. get reasonably lean, a healthy body fat, workout. I'm assuming you're there already if you're on my channel. Number 2, you need to be financially stable. You don't need to be a millionaire. You need to have sustainable money. You need to clearly have your own stuff, right? You need to look like you can pay your bills when they see what you do day to day. You need to be financially stable, right? Easy enough to do. Quit playing video games and jerking off to anime and go make some money. All right, number 3, you need to have something interesting. You need to have some sort of hobby or plumage that women find interesting. A musical instrument, an art that you put a bunch of time in and excel at, cooking, things like that. Become a really great cook. Something like that that adds some flair and things that women will find interesting. If you pull off those 3 things, you will get girls. 100% chance. Done. All right. Jason, I think for men, we can separate sex and emotional attachment. I don't believe women, most women, a handful can separate. Yeah. Yeah, it's the ones with the high body count. But that was my point, Joe. Right? That's still a good chunk of women. And that's what I meant. Guys can just go sleep. If all they want is sex, they can go sleep with a girl that's been with 40 guys already. It's not a problem. That was my point. You don't have to date to have sex. You just go hang out with the hoes. Done. But outside of that smaller number, I agree. You're absolutely right. They can't compartmentalize it the same as men. We don't compartmentalize it that well either. You will get attached to your friends with benefits if you start cuddling with her, no matter what. The only pickup tactic that people should work on is actually talking to women. That's it too. Yep. In a world of dating apps, just talk to women. I brought that up yesterday. People say, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, a grocery store. Dude, I talk to women about what's in their grocery cart when I'm standing in the line, man. Why not? You have to be comfortable enough to do that. If you do that, it's easy. And it's not because they're attractive or hot. I just do it. Why wouldn't you? That's the problem too. All the guys think that every conversation they start with a woman needs to be trying to get laid. How about you just stop and talk to women to where it becomes so normal for you that you do it without thinking about it? How do you deal with the friends when you tell them you're not interested in the relationship? Done. Why didn't you have this conversation up front? And it works both ways. I've had it happen both ways, where we discussed it up front and we agreed if either one of us got attached, we would end it. That's how friends with benefits work. You're adults. You're an adult. Have these conversations like a man. Now, I've had it happen both ways, where I got attached and she knew she was not going to get with me for a number of reasons. We've made clear up front. And so she's like, okay, let's end it. Done. Never talked to her again. Never saw her again the rest of my life. All right. And I've had it work the other way too. I definitely had one though who did get a little hurt about it. Like, we knew going in that this was no. No. There's no way I was going to date her. I'm not going to go into why. I'm not going to be mean or anything. But no, she was totally not dateable at all. But you have these conversations up front. You don't need to be a pickup artist and be deceptive. Learn to communicate. You're a grown man. Have these conversations like an adult. No one goes in being tricked. All right, guys, I'm going to wind this down. I think it's time to get some bench pressing in. We ran this an hour, so I love you guys and gals, and I'll talk to you next time.